So maybe we can start. I don't know.
Yes, yes. Yes, we can go
So,
on. And
Jose Luis, can you present to?
can you present yourself,
Thank
please?
Okay. I'm José Luis Vallejo. I'm part of the Ecosistema Urbano team, and I have been involved mainly in the urban design part of Dreamhammer process, but I was living there also for 1 month from 15th of August to more or less the middle of September. And I also had an experience which was going by car from Madrid to Java during 4 days with Domenico di Siena. So I'm more or less an like a veteran Hammer experience guy.
Great. Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, what we were thinking is to take advantage that Jose Luis is here with us. So follow the same scheme as the other sessions, and every participant can talk about their projects and their ideas. But now instead only Paco and I commenting, we want to have the opinion of Jose Luis, as he is living there now and he knows the context. Maybe he can give us an overview on how he feels that your projects match with the context or gave ideas or something. So we can start again in the same order with Silvia, Sara, and Fabrizio. And then maybe Jose Luis, you can make a comment of the work of each one, please.
Yes. Just one thing. We are very proud of the work of the blog.
Oh, yes.
we are very amazed about the quality of the stuff you have been shared. So that's it only.
You have given us a lot of work to reading all your posts, by the way. So thank you.
So Silvia, it's your turn.
Hello. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, that's perfect. And so, first of all, looking at the project you have shown in the presentation, I found another two that are linked to these two types, so achieve and archive. Sorry, achieve, archive, and peer-to-peer. Peer-to-peer. That was the Open Design City. I don't know if you want me to explain it now, or I can post it later on the blog if you prefer.
Yeah. You can go on and explain a little bit briefly.
And I will put the link in the chat so you can see it. So the first one is about peer-to-peer, and it's a laboratory open to everyone who have a lot of machine of instruments to work for product design or graphic design or little models for architectural projects. And I found them in Berlin. They are really a good equipe, and they really want people to join in. You have to pay a really little fee to be part of this equipe, just to pay materials and the lawyer, the affitto, the location.
Mm-hmm. Do you
and
think?
The other one.
Sorry, do you think it's a good idea to put this kind of project on Dreamhammer?
Why? Because it's too.
Well, you can tell to Jose Luis that this is a good project for Dreamhammer. Can you think it? Sorry, do you think it?
It should be. It could be something to do there, but maybe they thought something similar inside the culture. The the big building that they are growing, that is supposed to be in Hamar Sattergaard Square. No?
Yes, no, just go on.
And the second one is this. It's more about achieving, and it's a very interesting website, so well done, where there are a lot of projects about design and socially and politically engaged projects. So you know that I'm coming from design, so it's much more less architectural and more on the design side. But I think that there are some great projects.
Adele is joining us to manage the links because my computer is going out of the limits with this renderings and live stream. So
with the point of view on your
sorry, just okay. So José Luis, can you comment anything about
Silvia's project?
About a question that I have been made to her or something like that?
The thing is that I would need a bit more of info. That maybe she can give us like a bit more tips about.
Okay, open.
Because I just saw the web. She was like an example of something she wanted to implement in Hammer. But maybe she can explain it a little bit, like 2 minutes.
Okay.
The main ideas behind.
Yeah, this was really just 2 examples of something that respond to the topic of today's topics. And what I think about for this project is to go on with this participatory process for forever. I don't know how to say it in better words. So I'd like to maintain the participatory aspects in the Square project. And I'm really not giving out a project today, giving you an example, an easy example, but I'm thinking about it. And I want to thank also Sarah for the points that she underlined in a comment that are characteristic for a public place that we have to study and to take in account. And so I'm really working on it. I don't have really a proposal, but I'm working on this, on the dimension, I think that there was really 6 perfect points to work on. And as you're right, I am not just saying, I'm just working on it. I'm just
Silvia,
yeah.
I know Open Design City. Can I explain something from this project to José Luis? José Luis, it's like a big cooperative to improve all kind of stuff in Berlin. So it's like a Berlin culture way of life that you can lend to people clothes, or you can lend some pieces of tech like Wi-Fi routers, or it's like a big warehouse where you can share part of how can I say mobiliario urbano, urban furniture and something like that. The website it's very textual and we have thing that is
it's not so charming
to show the project, but we know. So I can imagine that Silvia is trying to get the store target involved in a process like this, that the citizen can make urban furniture or can share Wi-Fi or routers or so on. It's more
what is more interesting, if you can talk a little bit about, José Luis, it's how you see people's participation there. if doing a project like Sylvia is proposing can motivate people to participate, maybe? What do you think about it?
Well, I think that our experience there is that people is not so trained to I mean, they're like to participate or to share, but it's like we maybe can think from I see like a lot of people from the south of Europe, so we always think, I don't know if, I think there are no more people than higher than Pirineos or Alps. So in Europe, we always think that people in the northern countries are like more, for example, Germany maybe they are more trained, but in Hammer, for example, there is no such a big culture of sharing, and also they have a real lack of sharing during the winter time. So and also there is like a project at this moment in Hammer. Storterhead is only one of the projects that are going on. As you may know, the Kulturhaus, the Kulturhuset, which is a big building which is going to be in the east side of the square. They are building it, but they have around 20 or 25 more projects, and one of the projects is there is like an old factory, an old Nestle factory, which is at this moment more or less abandoned, and they are trying to create kind of a place where they don't really know what to do with it. So one of the ideas is to create like a place for artists. This is like quite an average topic to implement in this kind of building, but I think this kind of lab in which that goes beyond an artistic behavior is absolutely perfect for Hammer. Also, we are having, for example, one of the activities that we are having. This is going to happen in the 19th of November. We had an experience in Madrid around sharing toys with kids for the White Night, like Noche en Blanco. This is like a network of cities having. It's a website called La Noche de los Niños, in which we organized an event in order to present a website in which toys can be shared, and we were talking about that you can have a new toy, but you will have a new friend. So we are going to do it also the 19th. We are more or less preparing the website for Norway, for Hamar. So it's quite also quite a contemporary topic to work with, since also it's kind of clever way of thinking. I'm sure. So in this society which is packed of stuff that we don't really need, but we keep on buying. So I think that a network that is growing from the idea of sharing is absolutely perfect for Hammer.
So, Sarah, can you continue with this methodology? And Francesco, can you see the Gmail, the GTAC? Hello, Sarah.
Hello. My question to Liz, we met internally. I don't know if you remember me during the workshop, and my question is if Hamar people really feel involved in the project of the new square. In Northern Europe there is a civic minded, but I don't know if they are feeling really like a community around this project.
Hi, Sarah. Yes, can you hear me now? Yes? Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Well, I was saying hello because I met Sarah last summer during a workshop in Italy, so I knew her before. Francesco is a multitask guy, so he's moving everything around. but I'm not so multitask. So, I mean, I think we are really growing. I mean, we are creating a concern of participation. So, at first, when we started, people was kind of a bit. I mean, they didn't know what was going to happen there, and they were a bit maybe a bit afraid. Also of bringing some guys from the south of Europe, thinking that we were not going to understand their own culture and blah blah blah. But now I think the interest is growing quite a lot, and I know it because our colleague Belinda, which is in the physical lab in front of Stortorget, every single day, I mean, she cannot work at all because every single day she's having visits from people, every half an hour, just people passing by that wants to have a coffee, that wants to comment something. I mean, it's very nice, but also it's kind of that she's trying to do something there and being stopped all the time. But also, what is very nice, for example, is that this experience that we are implementing there, which is this sharing toy and the web and everything, which is going to happen also linked to one event in the Stortorget, in which this Saturday 19th of November, we will have lots of kids from Hamar and from the region interchanging their own toys. But I mean, we had this experience, but in this case, it's been implemented because a teacher in one of the schools in Hamar came to the physical lab because he wanted to do something with kids related to toys. So we are in a moment in which people is coming to make proposals about new initiatives that can happen in the square. So I think that we are quite excited with that. We're quite excited with.
Okay, and are they proposing some physical, something physical? You know, like I want some kind of seating or trees or a place for the kids.
I mean,
There is a specific ask, a specific request from people.
Yes, I mean, one of the parts of the project, which is the cultural rucksack that you can check on the website, during Hamar website, we have like inputs from 1,300 kids, and at this moment, like all the drawings from the kids are being. There is like an American researcher which is doing kind of a document in order to have classify all the dreams of the kids of Hamar around the square. So we saw lots of things. One of the ideas of the project is not only that people is coming to say I want a fountain there or I want water there. The idea is that we are. What usually happens with an urban project or an architectural project is that it always happens. For example, in Spain, during the last years of economic, I don't know the word in English, like opulence. Yeah, I don't know the word in English. Like such a huge big amount of money on construction. It's like we have created facilities in the cities like new museums, auditoriums, etc., without a real need of it. There was not a community behind asking or demanding these infrastructures. So the main idea is not, if you want a fountain, we are going to do a fountain. It's just to move the people, to create a community. I'm sure that you have already talked about this during the workshop. But this is, for example, one of our main concerns is like we want to move the people towards a new mood around their center, the new environment, the new urban environment.
Okay, thank you, Jose Luis. Well, I think it's the turn of Fabrizio. Do you want to explain us something about your Apple Square for Stortorget?
Yes. Let me traduci, Francesco?
Yes.
Sì, sì.
No, l'Apple Square è perché mentre facevamo le revisioni uno studente ha messo il suo portatile dentro nel modello della piazza.
So I don't know if you have seen the photo with the Apple Square, and suddenly they saw that an Apple a MacBook fit in the square. That's one of the students just put the Mac on the square and it fits. So
Only for this. Noi abbiamo per la questione people, struttura fisica della piazza, noi abbiamo uno slogan che è function follow form, non il contrario.
This is saying that they are focusing on a maybe more traditional aspect of the project, the architecture layer, I would say, and so they are very doing a big reflection on the physical aspect of the future square, and they are like following or using the slogan forms follow function, functions follow forms. Is it right?
Yeah.
So,
Did you say
Not
forms follow
form,
function?
not the traditional form, the form
okay,
follow
okay.
function, but
Okay, function follow form. I think we all agree with that.
is a little formalist, but we think that the first is the form, the shape of the space, and then the shape, the form of one space, one public space, can improve the utilization from the public, from the people.
Ma tu quale pensi sia la relazione fra la funzione cioè la costruzione, no? Secondo te qual è in uno spazio pubblico la relazione esatta? I'm asking which is what do you think should be the right relation or connection between the construction layer and the function in a public space?
Io penso che sia quello che dicevo. Adesso gli abitanti di Hamar non hanno più la piazza, ne hanno un pezzetto, ne hanno metà, diciamo. Quindi è difficile, al di là delle operazioni che si possono fare su questa metà piazza, vedere, cercare di capire quale sarà il risultato, diciamo, il gradimento del pubblico senza prima determinare senza che prima la piazza abbia preso forma, insomma.
Okay, I'm not sure if I understood, but I will try to translate. I think that Fabrizio is saying that at the moment citizens in Hamar don't have a square, they have just half of the square. So he's saying that first thing it would be interesting to see the reaction of citizens when they will have their square back, and maybe we should try not to define before this what will be the shape of the square, but just I don't know, find a way to leave the square open to citizens when they will understand that the square is for them.
José Luis? Sorry. Sorry Fabrizio.
Però a me era, non so se prendo troppo tempo, a me era venuta in mente anche un'idea per un action painting diversa da quella che è stata fatta sulla piazza, sulla parte di piazza che non è occupata dal cantiere, riferita allo storytelling.
So I had an idea for another painting action referred and related to the storytelling.
E ho pensato alle figure di Nazca. Voi conoscete tutta quella grande figurazione del deserto?
He had he has a proposal or somehow an idea to use, and it's about to use the Nazca figures. I don't know how to pronounce it in English. It's Nazca figure. They are in Mexico, I think.
No, it's in Peru.
No, in New Mexico, in Colorado.
Peru.
Peru.
In the United States.
Very big drawings.
Peru?
Only
Yes.
It's Peruvian.
You can only see from the sky.
And
Can
E allora pensavo che si potevano dipingere sull'asfalto della piazza, di quella attualmente esistente, 3 figure. Non so, per esempio un gatto, un serpente e un'arce. Questo mi è venuto. E contornandole con una linea, so, magari bianche, contornandole con una linea bianca e mettendo un cartello. Chi entra qui deve raccontare una storia.
You know, Fabrizio, that Hamar is in the like is half the way to Oslo Airport. Is in between. Sorry, it's like Oslo Airport is in between Oslo and Hamar, and Hamar is like in the way like airplanes when they take off from Gardermoen Airport in Oslo. You can see perfectly Stortorget from the airplane. So, okay, I will quickly translate the crazy idea of Fabrizio. Crazy but interesting maybe for the Stortorget. I didn't get the 3 animals you would like to paint, but he was saying about to paint 3 animals and make like a text saying if you enter here you have to tell us your story or a story. So I think it fits with what we were saying about provoking participation and people. For instance, for the next workshop next week in Hamar, to invite people to participate, we used a question that was in the poster. It was, would you like to have 300 mangoes tree in the square. So if you don't like it, come to the workshop or something. It was something like that. And I think we need to think about strategies like that in order to move people from their home and to come to the square and think about it. There are also other funny experiences in relation with promoting interaction. I can remember about Martin Guichet, which is an artist from Barcelona, and he had an experience. He organized an experience that was with the idea of creating like invisible atmospheres that controlling the atmosphere which is around us. He created an event in which he was inviting people, and he vaporized gin tonic. So in order to promote, I mean, this kind of people. There is like a line of people also in architecture. There are a group of of people. Well, one guy especially, which is quite focused on promoting interaction, but also dealing with invisible atmospheres, which is Philip Rand. And when he was working with another, with a colleague, Gilles de Coster, they were de Coster and Rand, and they did an installation for the Venice Biennale that was called Melatonin Room. They were researching with doctors. So they realized that with a certain amount of bright, like from very bright light, our bodies start to interact in a different way. So it's like our bodies were segregating a kind of hormona, so it affects also the sexuality and everything. So they created they implemented a big installation of lighting with very, very bright lighting. And they were researching how it was creating like an unpredictable interactions between people. So it's this idea of promoting interaction through the atmosphere is also quite developed in infills connected with architecture and also urban environments.
I think Sarah and Adele has been talking a lot in the chat. So Sarah, can you explain to us?
Yes, we are brainstorming, but go on.
What is going on in the chat?
I would like to ask to Fabrizio, what is its approach to the concept of the ring? Because it's so strong, and I totally agree with the ring concept. I think it's a great idea, and I would like to know by him what is his architectural approach to a defined concept like the one of the ring. If he has the intention to change it, or if they have another idea.
The ring, Ranello.
Yeah.
What ring?
Francesco, can you translate, please?
Fabrizio. Okay. Okay. Sarah is talking about the what we developed for the preliminary urban design. Fabrizio, non so se voi lavorate sugli anelli oppure praticamente Sara chiede lavorate su quella linea o state cambiando completamente? Because I would like to remind that in our idea we would like people to work also starting by zero. And also there is another possibility to start by thinking using the preliminary strategy we have worked out as a base for reflection. So I don't know which one of these two strategies are using students from Politecnico. Hai capito Fabrizio che...
Sì, no, now I understand. But I think that the ring is good. Questa parte di anello della piazza deve essere mantenuto, ma secondo me noi andiamo su un progetto che riguarda la struttura, la forma di tutta la piazza. Però per forza questo anello perimetrale deve esserci perché è quello che consente il rapporto con gli edifici, e quindi deve esserci.
Okay, Fabrizio say that in his opinion the ring is a right strategy for the square because it allows it's very important in the structure to relate the square to the buildings, but they are working on a completely new intervention. So I guess what I think they are working on a different approach for the physical structure, organization, but they are keeping the idea of having a ring around the store target to allow connection between the square and to relate it to the buildings.
So
c'è proprio quell'immagine nel booklet che analizza il rapporto con la luce artificiale, dove si vede che proprio il centro di Stortorget è una parte pochissimo illuminata. Quindi diciamo che lavorare sul perimetro va bene, ma bisogna anche lavorare sulla parte centrale per renderla più attrattiva, diciamo così, in qualche modo.
Fabrizio, I think this is a very interesting point because he's talking about the diagram of sun,
the artificial light in the square. But right now, layout of we have the lighting.
Yes, of the lighting, and I think the light is very important. The sun, there is the natural lighting of the square, which is very important. Yesterday in the section open lecture with Andres, there were Geir Koch, an architect from Hamar, was saying that in Norway, public space could work if you only have a place to sit in the sun, because the sun is very difficult to have sun, and it's very, very important. So Fabrizio saying that as there is no lighting, artificial lighting in the center of the square, we must find a solution to keep the center of the square attractive and livable.
thank you, Fabrizio, Jose Luis, and
Francesco.
Silvia, can you share with us
Some thoughts about this ring structure and the axis? Have you thought about it in your designs?
Yes, so I'm not an architect, so for me there was a lot of information inside the booklet that amazed me, like the sun and shadow diagram. It was really so well done. And what I write also on the chat is that I felt from some comments on the website that people are really afraid. They really want to maintain the big axis that goes from the church till the lake, and so maybe I don't know if I've understood, but if the rings will be so
Silvia?
Are you there, Silvia?
half ring.
Can you repeat the last 30 seconds because we lost you? Thanks.
Sound okay. I thought that maybe it could be 2 half ring to maintain the vertical axis. So in a way that would be like this. So because if the structure around the ring was on the green areas that is supposed to be there is so fixed or so present, it could be an obstacle to the view. I don't know if I can understand what I'm saying.
Yes, of course.
Base that are not.
This is for Jose Luis, I think.
Yes, for sure.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
I really multitasking, Francesco.
Que vas desconectado.
Yo. Okay, sorry, it's me touching everything here now. We can. Okay. Again.
Silvia, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I mean, I'm really happy that you are taking into consideration like the work we already did, but also the idea is that you have to, I mean, it can be used as, you can analyze it, but I think the it should be like a background for everything that you should propose for the workshops. So we were really afraid that you thought that you were not architects. We were really afraid of architects because maybe this framework that we were providing was going to influence a lot the work. Because of that, we wanted to give as less information as possible. So maybe because of that, you think that this ring, the idea of the ring, can cut the connection between, in between these axes. But the idea, what we really create, even if it looks like on the drawing, the plan drawing, it looks like a closed ring. The idea, that's why we gave such a big importance to naming things. So the idea is to create atmospheres. It's not to create things, like physical things over there. So it's to things. That's why we created 3 atmospheres. That's why we call them in a provocative way, in order to promote provocation and also in order to promote like ideas. I think it's always very worth to start not from zero, to start from something, and that's why maybe the preliminary design is interesting to work with, but you cannot see it literally, because what we were thinking about this idea of the ring is that maybe it's just the idea of the atmosphere, so it can be created by some furniture, by some pavement, by some benches, but it doesn't mean that it should be like a closed ring, because we realized that the idea of this visual connection between the church and the bazaar building and the lake was important for them.
So, what do you think about it? Well, now it's Silvia on the talk, but then we want to ask Sarah and Fabrizio what do they think about designing atmospheres and not physical objects.
Sarah?
My intention for the next week is to elaborate a proposal that is more like the mood board that the fashion designer used. It's to create a mood by analyzing all the posts that are published until now on the blog and trying to extract the main concept from each post and then to mix them and try to get some results that is more like a mood than a physical project.
Okay, I think it may be interesting to hear Fabrizio, because as the students have been working with models and all of this, which is your approach? Are you going to propose some physical design, or are you thinking about ideas? How are you managing?
Okay, can I add something to the question for Fabrizio? Maybe in Italian. Fabrizio, Eder, hai capito che chiede un po' come pensi di... Io aggiungo, visto che tu partecipi con la scuola e quindi avete tutti altri tempi, che cosa pensi che potrai, darci, tra virgolette, nel senso preso conto della tua esperienza, quindi molto metodologico, oppure pensate di poter produrre qualcosa di fisico? Qual è un po' la cosa di questo lavoro difficilissimo che stai facendo con gli studenti?
No, da domani cominciano a progettare veramente, a parte tutte le idee frammentarie che hanno in testa, però da domani comincia il progetto vero, quindi mi spiace di non potervi far vedere qualcosa, ma sicuramente venerdì prossimo ci sarà qualcosina, qualche idea un po' più definita.
Okay.
Per quanto riguarda invece la strategia, io sono Sì, d'accordo, ero rimasto più interessato alla sezione, quella che diciamo che è segnata anche sul booklet, quella che dalla strada della chiesa arriva al bazar.
And quick translation. Fabricio is saying that for the next week he's showing very physical things, I understand, from the students. And after that he's pointing out a question about, okay, the ring, I really like the ring, he's saying, but I'm more interested in the section through on the axe between the bazaar building and the church. Maybe Jose?
Yes, and maybe we can talk a little bit about what happens with the sections. This is a document produced only because the commune of Hamar was, in a way, like the politicians were in a way demanding. We didn't really like to produce like final images. For us, they are not final images at all. They are only images to show the politicians that we are able to create a project if we want. But because of that, we didn't, we removed the sections from the document that is online right now. The thing is that you, for this workshop, you have a document that we sent the tutors previously, but what we really feel should be the working document for the workshops is a booklet without the sections. Because for us, I mean, maybe for someone that is looking to the booklet, like first sight, it looks like we have taken lots of decisions. We know that this, for us, these drawings are just some ideas that we have for it, but it doesn't mean that we have a clear idea of what we want to like materialize. So we want to be like a step before the materialization of objects. That's why it's important for us this idea of defining atmospheres more than talking about finalized objects.
Vuoi chiedere qualcosa di specifico sulla sezione o cioè che dicevi che ti interessava?
No, la sezione, se non altro si vede che la parte alta dello target è a livello del tetto, del culmine del tetto dell'edificio basso.
Yes.
E il piano terra dell'edificio basso è a livello del primo e del secondo interrato del culto Plus. E qualcosa, questo andamento, diciamo, tettonico deve pur valere. Insomma.
Sure. I think there is two aspects we should clarify. Fabrizio is talking about the existing section and the slope of the square, which is very important because we can see that the upper level, the highest level of the square is just at the same level of the roof of the bazaar building. And Jose was just explaining why we have took away the section from the booklet, because we didn't want to influence participants.
So today we are not going to involve Urska like last day, so I was talking to her at the chat. I think it was a good session today.
It was great to have you, Jose Luis, here. Thank you.
Thank you, and I think we are going to post all the PDF on the DreamAmar blogs, because all PDF have the links to all the projects.
To the case studies.
And you can work with them to give Amar or DreamAmars a good proposal. And Really, I'm tired before 2 hours of English. Sorry. So
No, yes, we for the next session is the last one. We will have we want to have a more projects with more definition. Maybe not physically, as Jose Luis was saying. It can be a selection of links, a word, a live painting proposal, a QR codes, whatever. But a closer approach to the final proposal, so we can discuss it, and after the session we can redefine it and post it as our final presentation in the blog. So it will be great if this week you can work on thinking and also sharing ideas in the blog as you have been doing, keeping the conversation in the comments of the blog. It has been really great this week, your participation.
and remember, you can use the email, the mail list, to ask Tel and me some kind of sort of things that you want. So
See, whatever you need.
whatever. And I have to point out one more thing, Fabrizio. It's amazing, like a professor like you, that you pick up all the concepts behind storytelling and the Nazca
Nazca lines.
Nazca lines in the square is a very good idea. Just just congrats, because I think students will be fine working with you. It's a pleasure. I think Jose Luis can have the last words for us, and then we say goodbye.
Yes.
Well, the last words sounds.
No, sorry.
No, I mean, I think the approaches should be. I've seen some on the blog. Some of the approaches that I find, and they are quite interesting because they are absolutely open, and because of that, because they are not so focused on also this idea of the things that are already decided. So for us, it's very absolutely important to include all the inputs that you are. This is maybe should be like my last word. It's like we are waiting for all your inputs to know what to do when we finish this process, because we are absolutely open. We are really waiting for lots of surprises. We are before the middle of the process. We already had lots of experiences. For example, at this moment, we are Linda just phoned us, and 400 meters of trunks are being cutted, because tomorrow and on Saturday we are having there an event which is being called an urban action, which is going to be called Green Hammer. So lots of things are happening there. For this event we have involved the Gardener School's Hammer. It's like the Gardener School in Norway, which is placed in Hammer. So we are going to know what people wants to do related green areas in the square, which is quite a big topic. But what we really are is absolutely open to work with all the inputs, and I'm sure that the inputs that are going to be analyzed by Ethel and Paco are going to be quite interesting also, because not all of them, I'm sure that not all of them are going to be dealing with closed objects and materialized objects that we really find are, for us in this moment, are more interesting than just absolutely design and objects and furniture that maybe is coming with an instruction manual, what we usually architects do. Okay, so we are really want for project that really have power, like the power of ideas inside more than, yes, the power of concept, as Ethel says, more than the power of shapes.
Right. Thank you, Jose Luis. Well, I think everything is really clear. And well, as Paco say, if you need anything or if you want to ask, comment, or something, you can use the Google email list. And Francesco is asking something. Okay.
Citizen asked yesterday a question in the chat.
What are you kidding, or are you, because you're laughing?
I think that we are talking about very conceptual things, and yesterday we had a discussion with citizens on the net, and they asked the following question. Okay, this is very well, network design, and a lot of ideas, but what's your idea as an architect for the square? And they say after that, being very concrete, please. So they also ask for concrete things, but okay, there's time for that.
No, that. I mean, we have been fighting against closing things quite a lot, but they really want to visual. I mean, I know that we can deal with vague ideas, vague concepts, and for us they are important at this stage. But people want to see if we are going to create a fountain there, what we are going to do. So, but I think that this moment of uncertainty, I teach in the School of Architecture, and I always tell the students that this is something that it is creating creative people kind of a sense of, how would you say in English? It's like that you are not freedom. Not freedom. It's like you have an angustia.
Yes. You suffer. You suffer because of that.
But I always tell that this moment is the most creative moment in which everything is still open, but we have to deal with this sadness, with this angustia in which we want to materialize things, but we have to keep them a bit open, to start to cross the lines of all the direction that we are taking to develop a project, but not to finalize them too soon, or not to create too concrete explanations where everything is fixed. So we have to keep the moments of openness for ideas till almost the end.
So, okay, we are finishing. Just want to share a last link in the chat. Please open it. And then read it. And then we meet next week.
It has been recorded at the live stream. So architecture school should be solved unless
we start thinking in other things, not only artifacts.
So
okay, well, see you all next week, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.